Welcome to Musings Television, where your host, Fabian, invites you to bloom with a new perspective that will encourage, uplift, and inspire. Here he is with today's musings.
Return to dust. Today you walk above the earth. Tomorrow you are buried beneath it. Walk humbly and live peaceably. The earth, figuratively and otherwise, will consume you and I. Today my cousin buried her mom, or my cousins buried their mom, and on Tuesday she would have buried her father. So in 1 week they buried both parents, who would have died within probably 2 weeks of each other. The earth, figuratively, consumes you and I. The world is filled with so many distractions and niceties which it affords us. There are a lot of bling that is there to fatten our eyes, and it is not very hard to become consumed by everything that the earth has to offer. And so it is for us to be level-headed in our pursuits and our exploits, because ultimately everything that the world has to offer we cannot outlive, nor can we consume all that there is. And if we believe that we were fashioned in the dust of the earth, then we know that ultimately we will return to the dust of the earth. And that is the consuming nature of the earth. Whether we are in the present moment above it, or in the next moment when we could very well be interned beneath it. So our consuming of everything that the world has to offer, that earth offers us, I would say that we must consume with the knowledge that we know more than it. It is far more than us. We are powerless often in the midst of everything that Mother Earth has to offer. If we think of natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, we're often powerless when faced with the wrath of the earth. Volcanoes, for example, in our sister island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so we can't allow ourselves to be consumed by everything that the earth has to offer. We, in essence, must know our limits. Don't let anything get to our heads. Because if it gets to our head, then our journeying above the earth could very well be cut short, and we are left to be interned beneath it, to be consumed by the earth. Figuratively or literally, in essence. And I suppose funerals, burials are somewhat a reminder to us of our mortality. That we know not when our number will be called. And that is just how life is in its unpredictability. So while we often huff and puff and behave invincible, soon enough we can be reminded that we are at the power or at the mercy of a force that is much more powerful than we are, a force that is consuming And if we allow that ourselves to be taken away, or carried away rather, then we will be consumed, literally and figuratively, by that force that is much greater than us. If we think about it though, we can only guard against being consumed while we walk, or while we are above the earth. Because ultimately we have no choice. in our being consumed by the earth, given our mortality. It is a road that we all must walk. We just don't know when our number will be called. And in that respect, one could argue and toy with the thought of really availing ourselves to be consumed by everything that the earth has to offer. Because after all, what do we care, really? When the breath of life is no longer in us. A dead man can't experience the beauty, the pleasures, the riches that the world and the earth has to offer. And so, logically, it is for the living to experience all those things. But as the saying goes, everything in moderation. We can't allow ourselves to be so consumed by things that it could possibly destroy us whilst we walk above the earth. And so our goal, therefore, should be the preservation of our living for as long as possible, insofar as it is within our ability to do, to be able to experience all that the world has to offer us, to make our lives meaningful and for us to provide for ourselves and our families. Just simply enjoying life in all its ups and downs, because that's all a part of the journey. But in our living, let us remember that today we walk above the earth. Tomorrow, you and I are buried beneath it. Walk humbly and peaceably. The earth, figuratively and otherwise, will consume you and I.
There you have it, this week's musings. We hope you found it encouraging, inspiring, and uplifting. Let Fabian know your thoughts by leaving a comment on this video. Do spread the word and invite others to subscribe to Musings Television. Until next week, may your hearts remain ever joyful.